Welcome back to another fun week of Kentucky Downs. Guys, I look like I'm in the dark here, huh? Not just with my picks, but just light-wise. What's going on? There we go. Maybe a little bit better.
Maybe with your picks, too. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe with my
We'll
picks.
find out a little later today.
Yeah, we'll get it going on. So last night, if you didn't get a chance to join us, I had a pleasant time with my good friend Sean last night, talking with Grace McAtee. Came over here from Europe, from England, from the McAtee family of horse racing over at Newmarket. It was a fun conversation about some of the differences between running over there, running over here, and winters in England versus winters here, and then food from England versus food here. Personally, I like the food here better, but Grace liked the food over there. A couple of good laughs, too. It was a good time. So if you haven't had a chance to check that out, you can head on over to Horse Racing Radar TV. And gentlemen, to make sure they never miss anything that we do around here, what should folks watching do?
Well, they should hit the subscribe button, and then there's that little bell right next to it. Hit that, and you'll get alert every time we have a show.
Yes, there's no show tonight because we only do Horse Center Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. And I guess we don't do them on Mondays when the Jets play because Sean can't stomach missing Aaron Rodgers and the newfound Jets.
Oh, Lord.
That's what I say. And then, of course, we have our free picks today are at Delaware Park. I know our folks from Turkey love some Delaware Park racing. We don't have a best bet in race number one, kind of a little bit of a difference there, but nonetheless, you can get the free picks down in the description below. Make sure you click on that link so that we can keep track of where people are coming from. We certainly do appreciate your support, and hopefully you appreciate some free picks over there at Guaranteed Tip Sheet. Again, the link down in the description below. All right, gentlemen, we had some fun last week with are they streaming live? Yeah, we're here. Can you not hear us, Scott? We're here. Are we not? Are we not being heard? In any case, what do you guys think about one quick thing, and then we'll get going with our picks about that angle where they're running down the stretch, and then all of a sudden it flips to the front view, and you have no idea who's where.
Yeah, with all that money that's in the purses and everything there, you'd think they could afford a camera somewhere else to get a better angle.
Or a drone or something at least, right?
Put it up high so they can do a little better.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah, I think terrible is a kind word, Mr. Charming Charles. All right, gentlemen, you ready for the races today and see what pot luck brings us? Tom, what are the conditions for the first race?
Oh, it's a $50,000 claiming race, and these are, of course, for winners. And guess what? It's on the turf.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. All right.
So it's for winners. Does that mean we leave Charles out on this one, Tom?
Oh,
I don't know.
That's where we're going today. All right.
Here we go. All right. For 1 mile on the turf, we do a profile of a winner. So you have a sense of what the running style is that does best there. And so far, they've run 12 at the meet at a mile on the turf, as Thomas said. Of that, one went wire to wire. None have won from the rail. 2 or 3 have won post positions, a little bit of a bonus. So they've won more than their fair share. 4 through 7, they've really done the best. 8 and out, they get dinged pretty hard. And you're kind of looking for stalkers in here, Charles. So we do simulations, 1,000 using speed figures to create our own odds and see how they compare to the morning line odds. 1,000 simulations using early pace to see who will be where at the quarter-mile marker, what % chance they have to have the lead. Then finally, our exclusive C-zone, where based upon our early race projections, how comfortable will the horse be with that pace? The higher the number, the better. Charles, what do you see here?
Well, it says here that the 7 has a 49% chance of getting that lead at the quarter pole. It might be true, but I have a feeling that 5 is going to have a lot to say in this whole race. That 5 is got the speed to go wire to wire, has the speed to sit second or third. I think that's the horse that's got the main speed, the scary speed, whatever you want to call it. Simulation odds, we have the 3 at 6-1, and the morning line is 10-1. That's a nice little overlay. And then we have the 7. Look at that, just under 10-1. We got 30-1 morning line, which that will change because of the odds. The other horses being scratched out, but we'll see how that turns out. And then finally, the 11 horse, 4-1, and the morning line is 10-1.
Not bad there. And you see those strong C-zone scores, particularly on the 4-horse. 87% chance it'll like the pace of this race, and 70% chance for Stat would like that race, the two highest. Unfortunately, we can't show the races, Howard. We tried to get licensing rights for that, but the people were uncooperative, to say the least. So maybe another day when we have a little bit more money. But when the races are running, we do describe them. We'll probably make it through 2 races before we're done with our picks. So the first 2 will at least tell you what's going on. As far as pace shape is concerned, because we look at that here as well in race number 1, you do see that most of the horses, well, first the E's want to be up front. They're your drivers. EPs can drive or ride shotgun. Your P's are folks who ride shotgun, give you directions along the way. PCs are versatile. They can ride in the front seat. They can sit in the back seat. The C horses are your closers. They sit in the back and try to move to the front. Of course, and C horses that have not been within 5 lengths of the leader and up to the most recent 10 races and at the first-time starter. Looking at this race shape, most of the horses want to be, as you can see here, from the middle back. These are 7 and 10. If they can get proper fractions, might be able to get to the front and hang on. You look at their recency biases, the 5 and the 10 and the 7. Those are the 3 that'll be out front. But as Charles noted, that 5 and the 10 look like maybe the quickest of the crew. Late pace, which does play a role at this track because that late uphill surge. Derby Coat scoring 10 points better than the next horse. That's 2 lengths. The horses within 2 lengths of the leaders coming down the stretch could be difficult to hold them off, although could be pretty far back. A lot of ground to make up. If you're a total pace player, you can see it's a pretty tight race between the 7, 4, 11, and 2 as your top 4 horses in there. Charles, any of those make your picks?
Well, the 11 and the 4 is there, but and the 10. But I really still think it's the 5's race to lose. This horse is a second start after a layoff. The trainer gets 24%, second time after a claim. And this horse, like I said, it's got the speed. I actually see this horse actually getting the lead probably by the half-mile point, and he's going to have to take off because he's known to slow down at the end, and with that uphill finish, they might catch him, but I think he can still do it. The 10 is my second choice. First, you got to toss out that last race that horse did. If you do that, and this horse drops in class today, the trainer gets 28% first time in a claiming race, and he's got some tactical speed, so why not with this horse? And then the 11 horse ran second last time out. Joe Sharp, the trainer, gets 14% when he rests them up 90-plus days. That's a good little rest, and you got Rosario aboard. And then my price horse, or my final horse, I should say, because they're all going to be pretty good prices most of the time. The 4 horse ran second last time. Maker gets 16% when he rests them up 46-plus days. That's a good thing. But this horse does move up in class, and it does seem like he could fit with this group. So that's why I put him on the bottom side of my picks.
And you'll see Charles has some bets, as do I. We won't run through them in the name of saving time, but I will post them with all of our picks and comments over at horseracingtoday.net when we are done. Again, horseracingtoday.net. There is a link in the description for all of our picks, comments, as well as suggested wagers. All right, Thomas, how do you see the opener going?
I agreed with Charles and took 5. Mazzi's Channel is my top pick. To add to what he said, I think the last race was a little strange if you watch the running of it. And I think it needed that race for Larry Ravelli. And I'll take the 4 as my next choice. That's Racecraft. I like the works, the layoff, and gets Irad. And finally, I think the 2 is going to be the speed of the race to begin with. And that's who I think maybe can hold on for something. Joseph Safi's horses are doing well.
Well, they always do pretty well. Joseph, I think, maybe a little underrated in terms of his non-Gulfstream Park work. I make it 3 for 3. So is that kind of like the Ghostbusters combining their beams, and we're just going to blow everything up right from the get-go in race number 1? With Busy Channel does have some efforts at Kentucky Downs, 4 of them, no wins, a second and a third. One that has a shot to be better in the second start after a layoff. And in its first race off the bench, all the internals were better across the board. And this is going to be the second start for trainer Larry Ravelli with this horse. Didn't claim him, just switched barns. And he's done that 10 times this year, and he's won 5 of them. Not the biggest data set, but a lot of success with what we've seen so far. Number 7, clear for action. You got to have a bomb at Kentucky Downs. This is going to be my bomb. Could be your lone E-horse, as we saw in the pace setup. It has a win in 2 tries at Kentucky Downs, and this is probably its favorite distance, 1 mile, 10 times out. Handful of wins, a second and a couple of thirds. Parkland gets the third call for me. The last 2 times, this horse spent a little bit of time in the barn between races, came back to win both of them, and likes this distance with 5 races, 3 wins, and a second. Finally, the 10 horse, Pine Knoll, probably has the most back class in this field, dropping in class here. Some really good workouts leading up to its first race since July of, I think about mid-July. So 5-7, 310 for me. Again, you can see my suggested wager down there below. Our friend Christopher D'Souza, thank you for joining us, my friend, today. In race number 1, he likes the 2 horse with the 11-13 for an exacta and trifecta box. And if, like Christopher, myself, Charles, Thomas, you have some thoughts, ideas, questions, anything, kindly hit us up in the comment section, because it helps us with the algorithm. What also helps us with the algorithm is the thumbs up. So if you give us a thumbs up on Facebook or on YouTube, it's greatly appreciated. So just go ahead, grab your mouse right now, click the thumbs up for us. And if you haven't done so, subscribe. It helps us in that regard too. All right, let's try race number 2. What really helps us the most, Thomas, is when we find some winners for folks. So in race number 2, what are the conditions that we'll be looking for?
We're looking at a starter allowance for $50,000 or less, and they have not won a race at that level, either maiden or claiming are exceptions. And these are always interesting races because they come from all different directions, being maidens coming into this type of race or ones that have been around for a while.
And then Adam Miles, we talked about so far, stalkers have done best, although 1 out of 12 went wire to wire. None so far from the rail, so maybe Iron Sards could struggle a bit. 2 and 3 have gotten a little bit of a bonus, but being post 4, 5, 6, and 7 is where all the action's been so far. If you wear an 8 and out, you really get beat up a bit, Charles. So a little bit of tactical inside mid pace is what we're looking at. Got a full field here, Charles. A lot of data to digest. What do you see?
Yeah, there's a lot of speed in this race, actually. And we got a lot of mile races today, so everyone take note the first 2 races. And it looks like the 12 horse is, on our charts, is going to have the lead at the quarter pole, about 40% chance. You know, I see that happening. There's a couple other speed horses in here, like the 6, personally, I think, has even got some speed, even though it doesn't show a high percentage. So there's plenty of speed in here. They might keep that horse very honest. When it comes to simulation odds, the 2 is slightly under 2 to 1. We got 4 to 1 morning line, not too bad. And we got the 8 at 6 to 1, 10 to 1 morning line. And look at that 9, 2 to 1, and 15 to 1 morning line. That's a huge overlay. So we got a couple of overlays there.
And then 6 and 7 have some pretty strong, much stronger C zones. So those 2 might like the setup of this race in terms of its pace better than most. Speaking of which, last week we saw a lot of speed hold up there. And I know it's been a lot of moisture down by you, Charles, in the last couple of days. The track is listed as good. Do you guys think that that good rating means that the track is likely to play a little bit slower and less speed today than we saw last week? Tom?
Personally, no, I don't think they've got enough rain to really change it that much.
You live down there, Charles. What's your observation?
Well, I mean, I followed the weather down there the last couple of days. They didn't get much rain at all. The only thing that might keep it still a little damp, if it is damp still, is the weather is going to be like about 77 degrees, and it might be cloudy there all day. So it's not going to be super hot. Let's put it that way.
And we should point out to take out the farther rail. They're now into the middle now. So
they moved the rail out.
Track that hasn't been run on for the first 3 days is now going to be run on up to the finish.
Right.
And my understanding from talking with owners and trainers is that the closer it gets, the more it favors the horses that'll be a little bit more up front, and the wider they get, the more it favors horses that come off the pace because it lengthens the run to the finish line. All right, so looking at this race shape, guys, you see a lot of closers in this race, about 50-50. At the 6, 7, and 12, they want to be your pace setters. Are any of them going to be on the lead? Looks like the 6 and the 12 will be there. 7 might be a little bit off there, so maybe a little bit discouraged. The 9 and your 10 are your 2 Sesame Street horses, ones that aren't like any of the others. And no matter what you see on paper, they're ones that are worthy of additional consideration. I think you're going to see it play a little slower today personally because it is listed as good, maybe a little bit softer. So I think the horse is coming off the pace like Princely, the 8 horse. It's a pretty good advantage, 7 points over the next horse, the 2 horse. I think you could see some late pace coming into a little bit more play today. And as far as our total pace is concerned, you see right here, the 2 and the 8 grading out considerably better than everybody else. So maybe one of those 2 is a horse to key on. Charles, what do you say?
Well, I mean, I don't have the 8. This was one of those races that it was totally wide open in my book. So I'm not going to say anything negative about the 8. Let's put it that way. The 3 is my choice, though, here. This horse won last time out. This is his 3rd start after a layoff. The trainer gets 22% with that angle. Tyler jumps aboard. This horse does have some of that tactical speed. So I think this horse could sit close enough to the pace to make one good run. The 12 is my second choice. First thing, you got to toss out that last race. The trainer gets 22% with 46 plus days of rest. And this is one of them that has speed, as we already talked about. So I think he'll be really close up to the front. If he's not leading it, he'll be sitting second, I think, or third. The 2 horse, I think that's probably one of the most interesting horses in this race. It's got some good closing speed. I like the tactical part of this horse. He can lay pretty close. This is his 2nd start after a layoff. And you get Irad, which is no negative at all. And then the 6 horse is my final pick. This is the one I really think probably will have the lead or come at least be sitting second. This horse won last time out, so this horse could be dangerous.
Thomas?
I, on the other hand, did take the 8 as my top choice. Just missed on the dirt for a mile. Its only turf race that it has run was at a mile and 3/8, and it was a big money allowance race. But since adding blinkers to this horse, that's been a big difference and much better results. 7, Humor Me Now is going to be my next choice. Good works. It had issues in the last race, so got a and first turf time on the turf. So, but it's Asmussen and Rosselli, and they kind of know how to win. 9, 3 on the Tree is going to be my final choice. So it had some issues in the last race. There was a DQ in there that it kind of was involved with and kind of wasn't. And, it's one of those where maybe it was a little better race than it looks on paper, and it has won at this distance.
For me, I'm going to start off in the second race. If I can pop myself to the top, there I go. I'm going to start off with the 3 horse Shankar. This horse is 5 of 5 in the money since debuting on dirt. It's gone to all weather and turf since then. And of those 5 post dirt wins, could have easily, with a little bit of racing luck, won off 5 of them. Number 2, the Thrill of Victory, 4 consecutive speed figure increases in a row, ending in the top last race speed figure. Again, walking up that ladder, at least 3 races in a row. Barry Meadows, The Skeptical Handicapper. It's a great book. Pick it up. It is an alpha angle, one that means, in my opinion, 15% or more. Another one that says, according to its resume, will be better in its second race after a layoff. Number 8, Princely, your top pick, Thomas. 3 consecutive speed figure increases, again, fitting that profile of 3 speed figure increases in a row, winning at least 15%. This one ran a better 1 mile time last time out by about a second. Going to make its 3rd start after a layoff. The only time it made it 3 races in a row, the 3rd race was a little regression. So maybe this time it could turn that around. And again, you got to have a long shot, in my opinion. So I'm going to go with Lazarus. This is my long shot. It does have some very nice workout, at least on July 29th. And the turf breeding for this racehorse is really pretty good. So maybe that will be the price horse that comes in to fatten up the exactas and the trifectas. In race number 2, Christopher D'Souza, best bet of the day. Woo, he's going big. $125 to win on the 1 horse. 167 exacta try box and a double in $10 double, 2 in race 1 and 1 in race 2. Christopher, that's from our experience with you here, that's a pretty that's a pretty bold statement right in there. So can you kind of tell us in the comment section why you're so confident? I'd like to hear that, or at least read about it. Let's read about the conditions, Tom, for race number 3. We probably get through this one and the next one before the first race. When the first race comes up, we'll talk about what we see on the screen. Tom, what do you see on the screen here?
Well, I see the conditions of this race, and that's they're optional claimers for $80,000. For non-winners of 3, and this is a money condition, so there'll be optional, and then of course they do not include the maiden claiming, optional starters, and all that other good stuff. Non-winners of 4, so you could win a lot of races, or you can be put in for a tag. But with a 4-horse field, after the scratches, it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I think that 4-horse field really messed up a lot of my picks. I would think. Again, we talked about a mile, the profile of a winner. Just real quickly recap. 1 out of 12 so far has gone wire to wire. Stalkers have done the best, and what you're looking at, the rail hasn't won yet. Post 2 and 3 do okay, a little bit better than par. 4 through 7 have done the best. 8 and out have really struggled. Again, it's only a 4-horse field, so we don't have to worry about any of them outside posts. Charles, what do you see in the data that might point to the 1 out of 4 that gets the job done?
Well, it's saying that the 7's got the best chance getting the lead at the quarter pole. And, it probably does. It probably is the last of the lone speed. But, it's now cut down to hardly anything. So who knows? Someone else is going to have to go out there and pressure the 7. And that might be the 1, to be honest with you. I think that one might try, or maybe the 2, one of the 2. But when it comes to simulation odds, we already know that's all going to change because of the scratches. The 2 was at 3-1, and we got 10-1 morning line, and that's all we have when it comes to the simulation odds.
As far as the C-zone, every horse that's left in here has a pretty solid C-zone scored. So it kind of gets tilted a little bit, though, to be honest, with only 4 horses in the field. So you're not quite sure if it's going to play out that way. What we see in the most recent numbers, so 2 horses, a lone E horse, the PC types, they can sit right off the pace there. The 2 horses, I don't know if you really should get that ranking or not, coming in from Europe. Looking at the early speed so far, what we're looking at here is the 7 horse getting off to the best jump, the light being right behind it. The 4 horse, it could be about 2-3 lengths behind. It probably doesn't have enough late speed to make up that ground. So from the total pace standpoint, the 7 and the 1 of the of the American horses, with the 2 horse coming in from France, those 2 stand out much better than the 4. So maybe you can X the 4 off your picks and narrow it down to the 1, the 2, the 4, and the 2, the 1, and the 7, which is, I think, kind of what we did, Charles. I got it all screwed up. Straighten it out for me. You got the 4, the one that doesn't have a chance to win. So explain that.
Well, you said that yesterday that I didn't have a chance to win when you said 1 was going to win. And I said, well, I guess I ended up being on the right side of that one.
Are you familiar with the broken clock theory?
No, the broken clock theory? No, what?
That is right once or twice a day. So there you go, Charles.
No, I'm right all the time here, mister. No. Anyway, the 2 here is probably the horse to beat. And what I'm worried about is the 2 is if the 2 does go out or tries to challenge for the lead, will the 7 will they soften up each other? Basically, what I'm trying to say. Mm-hmm. And so that's my main concern with the 2. Other than that, if the 2 doesn't go out front and kind of just sits off the 7, well, then pretty much it's the 2's race, I think, after that. But I'm going to go with they're going to battle it out and soften each other up. So that's why I'm going with the 4. The horse has got tactical speed to sit right there, 3rd or 4th. And then the 1 horse is a dropper. He drops in class. Should keep him pretty close. This horse is a closer, though. The 1 is. And then we already talked about the 2 and the 7 there. So it really depends on what the 2 does. If he doesn't engage right away, then I think he might be the winner.
Thomas, you think, and I think it's the winner. Why do you think it's the winner?
Because it's raced against some pretty darn good horses in France.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's only a lone 3-year-old, but it's been running against Blue Rose Sen, and that horse is targeted to go to the Arc, and it ran second to it at Longchamp. Its really last race was a bummer. in the Pre-XD Diane at Shenty. That's a big money filly mare race in Europe every year. Based on its first 5 races and placing in a group 2, in group 3 and a group 1. I mean, it's kind of a tough horse to go against. This field. This one could easily have been slotted into the stakes race today. I know it's one on the good going. And it's one on soft. So if there's any moisture in that ground, it may like it even more. I did go with 4. Poca Muka is my next choice. Yeah, it's moving up, but the scratches really changed this race a lot.
Yeah,
and it's run well. Even tossed its head in one race and still did well. So runs to its form. It should be right there. And finally, I'll take the 1 Delight, my final choice. At the last race, it had all kinds of issues, and it was in a 14-horse field. Doesn't have that problem today. It is a grade 2 winner. And I think this one could take them wire to wire, depending. It'll be interesting to see how she runs.
Well, that's why with all the scratches, though, Tom, that's why if there was no scratches, 2 was my number 1 pick, and I moved it down to 3rd because of the main speed, which was the 5, competing against the 7. I thought they would kill each other, basically knock each other out of the race, and set it up perfectly for the 2. Now the 2's going to adjust its race style a little bit for this race, I think. But
part of the reason I tossed the 7 is because you've got 3 really experienced jockeys and the 7 not so much.
Right.
Well, you had to toss 1, Tom. You only make 3 picks in a 4-horse field, so one had to get that. One had to get that unfortunate designation as the one that Tom didn't like. I'm going to start off with the 2-horse, Tom, for some of the same reasons you did. It ran against some pretty good stuff over there in France and some group level races. And it also runs pretty well off the bench. Like it traveled over here, some rest time. The U.S. works have been pretty good, especially that last one. Says she's ready to roll here in the States. And what's even better about that, it's going to get a dose of first-time Lasix. So it could have a little bit more late race energy there, Charles, to mess up your theory on this one. Delight going to drop from a grade 2 into this spot. Last race was better than it looks. You mentioned all sorts of trouble in there, Tom, but despite all that, still ran faster fractions. Number 4, Poca Mucha, did show some improvement through the first half mile of its last race. Very consistent performer. I'm not a big fan of horses that kind of run the same race over and over and over again, because to get the job done, sometimes you need to have that little extra pop. I prefer more volatile horses. And then Do You Love Me, the 7-horse. This is really going to depend on if she can get the lead comfortable fractions or not. If she can, she got a good shot to go wire to wire. I don't think they're going to get away with comfortable fractions, and it'll probably fade at the end for me. Let's look here at race number 1 coming up, I think, in about, 5 minutes? Is that about right, guys?
No.
They're about to load up. All right.
Yeah, so let's about to load up. They're back there walking around in circles. So
let's see. So let's go back. So in race number 2, Christopher says he likes that 1 horse with the $125 in there because it closed last race, ran 4th at 21-1. And in race number 2, it's also going to cut back in distance. So it's liking that combination there. So that answers the question there for you, Rich Lane. Hopefully we got some winners in there too. In race number 3, Christopher D'Souza liking the 1-4 Exacta box. I'm going to kind of do a little foreshadowing here, but Roland Williams in Kentucky Downs race number 4. Big on the 5-horse Santorini, win, place, and show at a 12-1 morning line odds. And if you have some comments as well, some picks that you like, Kentucky Downs can be Delaware Park, where our free track for the day over at Guaranteed Tip Sheet is. Again, there is a link down in the description if you're interested in at all playing Delaware Park today. Let's look at race number 1, guys. What we have up here, our picks coming up in just a moment. If you haven't done so already, while we're waiting for the horses to load, if you haven't done so, kindly, they say only 1 out of 10 people hits the subscribe button. Do a lot of excess data work here, folks, that you can't get anywhere else, like the comfort zone, all the simulations. We do the pace handicapping. There's more to come too. So if you want to be a part of all that as we introduce new data that you can't get anywhere else, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. Then, of course, you can also tune in to our interviews. A lot of great things we've learned from great jockeys like Mike Smith, Tyler Gaffleone, Jose Ortiz, some great trainers. We had Larry Ravelli on, and I can tell you a monetary benefit. We had one gentleman, the name escapes me right now, based upon the show, No Balls ran, was that in the Kentucky Derby day? I think it ran on the turf at Churchill. He said he was going to scratch it, but he left it in. The gentleman used that pick based upon what Larry Ravelli said in our Horse Center show. The horse went on to win, I think, at like 20-1. He hit a $94,000 pick 4. So there's a lot of value information right there. Kentucky Downs, first down by Stocks, likes the 4-10 exacta box in there. Kentucky at Rich. Yes, indeed. I wanted to be down there today. We were going to try to get down there, but it didn't work out. So unfortunately, maybe another time. All right. So the first race is about to get cracking. They're loading into the gates with the big ass fans. Advertisement off to the side there. And let's see, right now we're waiting just for, looks like we got the 1, the 2, the 3 are in, the 4 settling in, the 7's in. We're just waiting on the 10 and the 11 to get in. Right now in race number 1, it looks like the 10 horse is the favorite at 5-2. So kind of lukewarmish there. The 4 horse is second up. The one that we all picked, the 5 horse, is right now the third favorite. And so maybe we did jinx that one, guys. The 3 horses right in there. Well, the 2 horses pretty much mixed in there too at 3-1. And they're off for the opener for the second week at Kentucky Downs Racing. The 7 horse in here, which we projected to get to the lead, is indeed on the lead with the 5 horse, the one we thought would be right behind it, sitting in second on the rail. It looks like we have is it the 5? I can't tell.
The 2 is sitting on third.
You think that's the 2? All right.
Yeah,
the 2 is in third. The 10 is fourth as they make their way down the hill into that slight bend to the left. I think they're probably going a little too fast in 23-3 through the opening quarter for a race that is a mile. But speed did hold up last week. The 10 horse is moving well to the outside. The 2 horses made a nice move up the rail. The 5 horse, the gray, sitting right there. You got a pretty good gap then back to the 4 horse, maybe 3-4 lengths. And then another 3 or 4 lengths to the 2 trail followers, the 3 and the 11, as they make their way through that final turn. The 7 maintains its lead, although the front is starting to get a little bit bunched up. Looks to me like the 11 is going to have a lot of work to do if it wants to get involved. Everyone's tiring a little bit, it looks like to me, except for maybe is that the 10 horse? Here comes the 4 with a mad rush. Yeah, it looks like the 4 horse is going to get this race, gentlemen. It's going to go, and there's that wonderful angle again.
There's that beautiful angle.
But the 4 horse is going to be your winner, it looks like. Racecraft going to go off at 7-2. It looks to me like you're going to get the 10 horse in there for second, maybe, or the 11. The 11 is charging late. Maybe you're going to run down that 4 because it's moving at a completely different speed. I don't think the jockey knew he was coming. Boom. That's going to be close.
Either way, I hit the trifecta.
Yeah, I think you're hoping that the 11 got him, though, Charles.
Yeah, I think so.
So Charles with the they're showing the 11 on the camera right now. Do you think the jockey didn't realize the 11 was coming, or his horse?
No,
was
I
just
think
done?
the horse was done. He was just trying to keep him focused enough to keep going. That horse was done. The 4
trying to get the last out of him.
He didn't even show him the whip though.
No. He's done. That's why.
He was, why? It wouldn't have done any good.
Yeah.
I'm not saying whip him. He wasn't even showing it to him.
It
looks like he's trying to.
He was trying to use his arm strength.
Ooh, that's going to be close.
I think
he might have held on at the end.
I don't know. I think the 11 got him from what I see. But
well, we'll
really
see.
Close.
I think because the angle is kind of difficult there, but just from the angle I saw, looked like the 4. All right, folks, in the comment section, who do you think got it, the 4 or the 11? Let's see.
Yeah, because he was just going wide. He was drifting, and that's a sign of being tired.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's see how it goes. Maybe it's going to be a dead heat in there, Charles. It's tough to tell. All right, so that's while they're working on that. We'll work on
one dead heat. last.
I'm going to say the 4 got him. The 4 was down. It's the last stride that the 4 was actually ahead of the 11 was at the wire. If that is another 6 inches down the track, the 11 wins. I think it's going to go 4, 11, 10. That's what I think it's going to go.
You might be right, but
yes, I'm always right, Charles. All right, let's, except for my picks right there, I agree, I got them wrong.
Yeah.
All right, race number 4. Let's talk about race number 4. The race number 4. What do we see, Thomas?
It's an allowance race for non-winners of 2 other than, or non-winners of 1 other than, or non-winners of 2, and they're running for some decent money.
Big checks for sure. Again, we talked about 1 mile. We saw it right there. The front horses did kind of fade off, which is kind of how the history has been at Kentucky Downs. And at 11 just came from way back. I thought he was actually done and just made up a ton of ground late. So maybe it's going to be a day of closers over there. Like,
well, it's 4:11, 4:11:10.
I tell you, I'm never wrong, Charles, on those photos. Anyway, it's about the only thing I get right with some consistency. But if speed doesn't look like it's going to hold up. Again, you had that outside horse through there. So that kind of broke all of the last week biases. Forget about the biases, Charles. What do you see in race 4 data?
Okay, well, the main speed really scratched. But remember, this is, with this type of race, who knows who's really going to go in front. It looks like possibly the 9 maybe will go out in front. Who I think might go out in front might even be the 6. The 6 might be your leader. So you got some speed out there, but not true speed. Let's put it that way. And then when you got simulation odds, we have the 3 at just under 5-1. We got 8-1 morning line, and then that's about where it should be. And the 9 is 2-1. Got 4.5-1 morning line. And then that 11, just under 11-1, you got 20-1 morning line. That's a nice little overlay.
Man, this should be a race that everybody's comfortable with. Those C-zone scores are really high. Again, if you're new, C-zone is a score that we created here based upon the projected pace, how likely the horse is going to find it to be comfortable to some of their better performing races to date. Also do the pace handicapping if the computer wants to switch screens for me. You see at this race, most of the horses want to be middle in the back. So this is front horses that want to run maybe pilot or co-pilots, versatile horses. These are your flight attendants and your closers. And here, looking at this race shape, everybody wants to come off the pace. So maybe this time speed might hold up. Looking at the early speed, Smile Lemon, that horse will be up on the front. The 11, Boko, maybe not, although it did get that nice little overlay in our simulation. We just saw late speed play a big factor, almost catch them at the wire. Looking at these top 3 horses, Real Fast, Spirit Maker, and he's got Swagger. 4 horse being that lone PC horse, going to move a little bit to the left. I like left arrow horses. Top total pace horse belongs to the 13, Real Fast. So you got the 13, 3, 5, 4, and 9 kind of standing out by themselves right there. So maybe one of those will produce the trip to a winner's circle. What do you think, Charles?
Well, yeah, this race, I like the 4 here. The 4 ran second last time out. Pete Miller gets 21% first after a claim. Second start after a layoff, and Pete Miller also gets 15% with that angle, which is not too bad. And then the 5 horse is my second choice. Now, this horse had a troubled trip. He went wide last time throughout the race. He's going longer today. Second start after a layoff. Trainer gets 14% with that angle there. So that horse makes him very dangerous, that 5. The 6 horse here is my third choice. Won last time out. I think this is one of the speed horses out there. Trainer gets 19% with 46 plus days of rest. And then the 8 horse is my final pick. Won last time, got some tactical speed. Third start after a layoff. And you know what? Todd Pletcher gets 25% with that angle.
Oh, we get 22-1 odds with our good friend Thomas here. What's your story?
Not in this race. I did go with Forest Spirit Maker as my top choice. It was claimed last out for 50. Pete Miller's pretty good at sharp about this kind of stuff. Putting Irad on, and should point out that in the other claim that he had made, which was last week, that he brought in, finished third in a stakes race. So he got his money back from that claim. And that's very much the case here. Number 3, Miranda's Right's going to take my next one. Hasn't won on the turf yet, but is placed in 3 out of 4 races and has run at Kentucky Downs before. And finally, I'm going to take number 7. He's Got Swagger. Moves back to the turf after some issues in the last race. Also a non-winner, but 3 out of 5 races, he's been in the money on the turf.
Not too bad there. I'm going to start with the 3-horse, Miranda Rights. Tom, you like that one. You mentioned it did pretty well. It has a trip at Kentucky Downs, and it was second. So not too bad there. This is a horse that likes to run off the bench. 16 furlongs of workouts since his last race, so should be fit, firm, and ready to run. And the most recent work was sparkling. The number 4 horse is your lone PC horse, as we talked about in the race shape here. So should get, if they go too slow up front, can definitely head north. If they go too fast, can kind of sit off the pace there and make the most of it. First off the claim for trainer Peter Miller, you mentioned that. He wins at 21% of the time versus his overall rate of 15%. So he delivers horse players alpha with that angle. Baby Voss, the 10 horse, gets the 3rd call from me. Got better in its last 2 races after its debut. Does have some pretty good turf breeding and a bullet workout, suggesting it could live up to that breeding. Number 13, Real Fast, won its debut with ease with some really good late pace. 16 furlongs of workouts since then. So maybe get a nice price on that 10 horse. I doubt it, though. But there is my trifecta box. My trifecta. Charles had his. They're still waiting on a last.
Now we got the results in now.
All right, what you got there?
The four of the winner paid $9.02, and the 11 finishing second $7.40. The 10 finishing third $2.88, and the 3 finished fourth. The $1 exacta, it paid $34.98. The trifecta paid $78.93, and the super paid $50.33.
So Bobby Pruitt's going to say, who do we like in the 5th race? We're going to find out now who we like in the 5th race. But before we get to our picks, Tom, we have a little bit of a routine of running through the conditions, the profile of a winner, all of our data, and then our picks. So let's start with the conditions.
Well, this is your favorite type of race. It's for 2-year-olds, maidens. Some have not raced yet. Some of them have raced, and some of them could be still racing after this race is running.
Mm-hmm.
So 6.5 furlongs, the first time we're going to see that today, but I think there's a couple of them at that distance. So pay attention to race 5. Although at the 2-year-olds, I wouldn't know how much weight to put on it. Stalkers have done well, although a couple of them have found their way to the winner's circle going wire to wire. The rail, Active Mutiny, does play fair. 2 and 3 in this case, gets squeezed a little bit. 4 and out, a little bit better than par. So I think you're probably looking for a horse that's on the outside with a little bit of tactical speed. Unfortunately, Charles, in race number 5, not enough data to do our simulations, but a little bit of data in here of the horses that have run for the race shape. You do see that most of them want to close. Oh, yes, race 5. Yeah, yes. Yeah. See, most of them are. So you have the 1, 2, 3, and 10. They have not been within 5 lengths of the leader at the finish line. Got a whole host of first-time starters in here. The 7 closed in its first effort. The 5 and 6 showed that they could be forwardly placed. One thing that stands out to me in all these numbers on the early pace here is look at the 6 horse, 111. That's like stakes caliber, but certainly doesn't have the stakes caliber late pace in there. If you look at the late speed, which we did see do all right there in that first race, that 7 horse closer will live up to that. 11 points better than all the experienced horses. Of the horses that have run so far, our total pace does favor the 7. We don't know what these guys down here are going to do, but Charles is about to tell us what he thinks they're going to do. Go ahead, my man. You got the first race right, so maybe you get this one right too.
Yeah, I almost got my my money back to budget for $100, $78 and change.
Not bad.
In this race, yeah, maiden 2-year-olds, yeah. Toss out the first 2 or 3 races they ever do. So it really is, this 2 horse is my first choice. It ran 3rd last time out. This horse does cut back in distance, This horse is bred very well. The trainer gets 28% second for their second race. So I think this horse would be a lot more geared up for this race and ready to rock and roll. The 5 is my second choice here. This one ran third last time. The dam has 4 winners from 6 starters, and 3 of them are winners on the turf. This horse has got some tactical speed, it looks like, so he might be sitting in that catbird seat. And then that 6, which I think this horse is going to be one of the speed horses. This horse cuts back in distance. He ran third last time out. Tyler Gaffleone is aboard. And then the 8, this is the first-time starter. Bred for the turf. Trainer gets 20% with turf debut. Solid workouts. So, like you said, it's 2-year-olds.
Put numbers in a bag and pull them out, Tom. What numbers came out of your bag?
5 was on top, Palm Tree. First start in the dirt, showed some speed, ran third. But the breeding, as Charles alluded to, it does suggest turf is much more preferred, and happens to be owned by Godolphin. Number 3, Tango Yankee. Will add blinkers today after not a great first start. It was slow at the start, so that should help. It's good works and Mike Maker. Finally, I'm going to take a long shot in 8, Drew Mania. Really worked very well at Evangeline. The turf breeding does suggest turf. And I'm going to take a chance on a guy who's closer to my age, John Court, who's this is his only ride for the day.
Oh, we got close to your age jockey out there. Can we get you on a horse, Tom?
I think he's 64.
And he does very well, by the way. If you look at his stats for Kentucky Downs, he does very well.
Well, hopefully I get one right here with the 7-horse. Committee of 1 did run the top last race speed figure with our good friend Christopher Parmalu, ran second. That means, and it means he only has to beat 1 horse, and he does have a sharp workout on there as well, and then a couple maintenance workouts. Act of Mutiny, the 1 horse, gets my second choice. Did have a fairly strong debut in terms of its consistency from the beginning to the middle to the end. Real big drop off. So I'm expecting some improvement in race 2, especially with a couple of nice workouts in between starts. The 11 horse Runaway Joke, which might be my picks today. It's my flyer pick in here. Does have the bullet and go workout. And what I mean by that, again, another thing I kind of learned from the skeptical handicapper is that Barry Meadows, you get the last workout before going to the race. If I picked the right horse here, was a bullet workout. So it goes to the track off a bullet work. That angle hits at more than 15%. You also see over here the turf breeding is some of the better turf breeding. So if the bullet and go works, you got a horse that meets that characteristic. And then finally, the Deep Strike, your top pick, my 4th pick, Charles. Well bet in its debut, was the $2.20 favorite, and it is the one that does have the top turf pedigree. So maybe it can live up to that in its second career start. So hopefully that answers the question of who do we like in race number 5, Bobby, and hopefully one of them is your winner. And we have got quite a variety of picks in there, it looks like to me. Many of us across the board.
Remember, it's a 2-year-old race. That's why.
Yeah, anything can happen. So race number 6, we get away from the 2-year-olds, Tom. We're going to stay at 6.5 furlongs. So tell us about these conditions.
We are in a allowance type of race. These are for horses that have not won a graded sweepstakes in 2023. So we're dealing with some pretty good horses here.
Mm-hmm.
But they haven't won a grade race yet this year.
And we're also dealing with some scratches in here, kind of changing the shape of this race too. Again, stalkers do best here, 27%, though. You do have a shot to go wire to wire, although I do think that the good surface might take away some of that early speed advantage we saw last week. The rail's been fair, 2 and 3, a little bit discount. 4 and out has been the best, Charles. In this shortened up field, race number 6, you can see all the red in there. That means that 12 horse might be one that gets some additional caffeine as your potential pace setter.
Could, yeah, that 12 at 29% chance with all these scratches in here, probably, especially with the 1 gone, probably most likely will be the leader in this race. But maybe the 4 might have a say in that, maybe in that. simulation odds, not going to be much here. The 9 at 3-1. We got 6-1 morning line, but everything's going to change because of all those scratches. There was a lot of scratches there.
Yeah, too much red in this race. I agree with you. In the 6th race, the pace set up with all the scratches in here. The 4 and the 12 are kind of versatile. Neither one of them really needs the lead, although it does look like, based upon some recency bias here, that 12 horse Twirled, pretty aggressive early pace. So I think you're going to see Twirled on the lead. Everybody else pretty tightly tucked in behind because they're all kind of competitive with one another. The 12 can't hang on. Last Leaf does have some good late legs. Auvert right in there as well. Those two also grade out as your top 2 total pace horse, just flipping places, but still a pretty competitive race, except for maybe the 7. Frango Electrico, probably Charles's top pick. But go away, Charles. What is it?
No, it's the 12, and I would wish we would see 30-1 on the 12, but we're not going to.
Not with all these scratches, no.
No, there's no way. No way. This horse has speed. Steve Ashmanson gets 18%, 46 plus days of rest. I personally think this is the one to catch. He's going to be out there winging it. So it just depends how tired he gets basically on that turn for home. With the 8 is my second choice here. This horse, I think, has got a little bit of that tactical speed. This horse drops in class today. Second start after a layoff. Got some nice solid works behind this horse, so why not? The 9 ran 3rd last time out. This horse is another one that has really nice tactical speed. Adds Lasix today. The trainer gets 17% with 46 plus days of rest. So this horse is nice and fresh and ready to go. And then the 4, one as my last choice. Won last 2 races. Second start after a layoff. The trainer gets 17%. With that angle, and it's another one that could sit really close to the pace, but I think the pace is going to be set by the 12. How far of a lead is the main question, and can he hang on?
Can he hang on, Tom?
No.
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 9. First Lasix, been running well and great at stakes races. It's a bit of a class drop for her. She's won twice on the turf out of 6 tries. 4, Auvert, let's take as minor stakes winner last time out at Hawthorne. At this distance, has good speed. Turf record is impressive. 8 starts, 4 wins, and 2 thirds. And she's seen the back end of Carvel, among other really good sprinters in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And I will take Twirled as my final choice, the 12. Speed, I think maybe a little extra distance may help this horse. And in a shorter field, who knows?
Yeah, short fields with speed, it can be a pretty good advantage. I wholeheartedly agree with that sentiment. I'm going to start with Auvert, the 4 horse. Did race at Kentucky Downs one time, was out of the money. But when you look at the horses that remain, was the best effort any of them have put in the track in Franklin. Top last race speed figure, gentlemen, and then has 2 bullet workouts since then. That tells me the horse remains sharp. And you mentioned Thomas seems to prefer the turf, winning half of its races. Number 12 at Twirled did run at Kentucky Downs 2, did finish second. So it was a pretty good effort in there. Got some solid turf breeding in here after what's left from the scratches, and is the one that's going to be out front. Can they run it down? If the fractions are right, it goes wire to wire. If the fractions aren't right, they goes too fast. Good finish last. Last Leaf, consistent performer. I think you're going to see an uptick in the first race with Lasix in here, which is, I think you'll see a little boost to its speed numbers so far. Because again, I mentioned, I don't like horses that are like in a tight box, that they have a very small range. I think you'll see a little bit of extension there. Finally, the 8 horse Super Munning is going to drop from a $200,000 non-graded stakes race and does have a bullet workout between that race and this one, telling me that maybe the horse is tightening up a little bit heading into this race. Again, pretty competitive horses with a lot that just haven't won a stakes race this year. If you haven't done so already, kindly hit that subscribe button while you're here. Again, only 1 out of 10 folks do. We're trying to get to 10,000 as fast as we possibly can. It's an easy way for you to help us. Another easy way for you to help us is to head to our YouTube channel. We appreciate you doing that. When you go to YouTube, you'll see that there is, for a video, you'll see a share button. If you'll kindly hit that share button right here, copy it, and then include it in your social sites so that your friends that like horse racing will know about us too. we'd greatly appreciate it. And, like those Prel commercials, you tell 2 friends, they tell 2 friends, we might actually hit 10,000 in there. Let's see. Jared Bush, Jags -10 this weekend. Best bet, lock it in. Good to see Jared Bush again. Talking a little bit of NFL football. We'll probably talk a little bit about that too someday down the line. All right, so, gentlemen, now we're moving off to race number 7. So we got some football talk in there. We got the hit to subscribe talk in there. Now we're going to have another maiden race, Tom, and we're going to go back, a distance we haven't seen yet.
Yeah, we're going to go 1 mile and 5/16 for maidens. These are fillies and mares that are 3-year-olds and upwards. And that means some have tried and some have not tried very well.
A 7 mile and 5/16. They only ran 1 race last weekend. Actually, they ran 4 races, excuse me. Closers did really well, although 1 horse did get to the lead and stay there. You had 2 winners from the rail, so maybe Animal Fries might benefit from that post position. All the other winners came from 4 and out. Pretty interesting race in here. We'll get to this in a minute, but I think this race to me has the most probable winner on the card. Charles, what do you see in the data to kind of point you in that sort of direction?
Well, the speed's all basically out of the race. The 12 probably has the best chance of getting the lead at the quarter pole with 13% chance. But I think some others is going to probably have to step up, probably the 1. There's even the 11 that could probably step up. So there's a couple others that could at least push the leader, whoever's going to take the lead, and be brave enough to do that. In this race for simulation odds, we have the 4 horse. What is that? 2 to 5 at 3, and this morning line is 3 to 1. So that's your big favorite, I guess. Probably would be. And then the 10 at 5 to 1. You got 8 to 1 morning line. So nice little overlays there, but nothing major.
And the strong C zone, the horses that should really enjoy the pace in here, the 2, the 4, and the 10 horse. And I like this combination when you see, for example, with the 3 horse, you have the overlay according to our simulations and a strong C zone. You also see that combination with the 10, an overlay with the strong C zone. A lot of those horses do perform very well. In 7th race, the race shape, again, you see most of the horses want to be middle or back. That could really give the 2, the 4, and the 10 a little bit of an advantage up front if they can run proper fractions. You see the 1 horse, Animal Fries, does have the most early speed as a closer. That's how it typically likes to run. I deem those left arrow horses that usually like to come from off the pace, but its early pace is good enough to get it involved right from the get-go. But you see all the way down to the 4 horse, really not a big difference from top to bottom. Late speed, if late speed matters, this is where this race is going to be won. Lady Claypool with a 21-point advantage over everybody else in the field. Folks, 21 points, that's about 4 lengths. If that horse is within 4 lengths coming out of that turn, it could be next to impossible to hold that one off, provided it doesn't run into traffic or get boxed in. 15-point total pace advantage. Anytime you get above 10 or near 10, that horse has to be seriously considered in your picks. It is seriously considered in mine. Charles, you kind of downgraded a little bit. Walk us through your selections.
Well, I like the 2 because I think this horse is going to sit a lot closer to the pace. This horse was second last 2 times. Walsh gets 15%, 46 plus days of rest. You got a hot jockey trainer combo in the last 14 days. That's why I said I think, and of course it's a maiden. But I think this horse will sit a lot closer to the pace that is really pretty much non-existent. The 7 horse is my second choice here. This horse ran 3rd last time out, 3rd start after a layoff. Mark Casey gets 17% with that ankle. So that horse would definitely be closing also, the 7. And then the main closer, the 4, ran 3rd last time out. They're adding blinkers. They're adding Lasix to this horse. The horse was kind of like almost everywhere in that last race. But the maker gets 15% first time with blinkers, and the horse will be closing. So like you said, he's going to have to be close, but the question is, will he be close to make that big run? And the 11 horse is my final pick. This horse was very ranked last time out, and this is his 2nd start after a layoff. So I think maybe that horse felt a little too good going into that last race. and wanted to do his own thing, and can't let them do their own thing sometimes. And they're adding the blinkers today, so maybe hopefully get that horse a little more focused, get him ready to rock and roll. So I think he's very dangerous also.
Thomas, you think he's dangerous too?
I do. She had done the oldest horse race in this. I mean, the oldest horse in the race. She's 5. She had definitely had issues, as Charles said last time out. They're going to have blinkers. I think you're going to get a price. But if you go back to 2021, because she had a break between, didn't race in 2022, you'll see some pretty good turf races that she ran. So she likes the surface. 4, Lady Claypool. Yeah, you mentioned some of the reasons. Yeah, why? Going to be closing. I should point out, though, the UK races were very average, and we're not in what I would call great company. Finally, 3, Blame the Stars, my final choice. Likes to run late.
Excuse me, Tom, but it looks like we're going to get a scratch in the race number 2. I can't tell who it is, though.
Yeah, it's one of the ones I picked.
Oh,
Is it the 7 horse? No, the 8 horse.
No, it's who?
Yeah, it's the 8. Princely got scratched out.
Yeah, and also Humor Me Now has been scratched.
Yeah, the 8 and the 7. So your 2 top picks. So Tom's down to a horse of integrity in race number 2. Let us know about the 3rd horse in race number 7, because it's going to give us a few more minutes while they adjust the gate.
Blame the Stars. Going to close. I like the breeding, but I don't like it to win.
I'm going to go with that 4 horse, despite the pedestrian efforts in overseas. Does have that huge 15-point total pace advantage over the next closest horse. That late pace edge is where this race is going to be won, because with the early speed, it's not going to be all that far from the leaders. And then you're going to give it a dose of first times Lasix. It's just going to provide more octane as they come down the stretch. The 7 horse, Boltero, is my second choice in here. 3rd start after a layoff. Did have a race at Kentucky Downs and just missed by that much. Southampton Doc gets the 3rd call from me, coming off of her best race. So showing the horse is in shape. And then on top of that, has a bullet workout sense. So continuation of that form in store for the 7th race today at Kentucky Downs. And then Sri Lanka, the 2 horse. Your top pick there, Charles, been close to graduating a few times already. Hasn't gotten the job done. So that tells me this is a professional maiden. Charles likes to hang at the end. So we'll be there, give you some hope, and then get dashed at the wire. I did put a pick 4 together here, where I spent most of my $100 budget. I do think you can get some prices in there. Let's look at race number 2. They are starting to load, so we'll rewind back to our thoughts. Thomas, your 8 and 7 got nixed out, so they're not in the race right now. So you again have a horse.
Won't be in the race at all. Not right now.
So you got the 9 horse in there. That's it for Thomas. My alternative horse after the 8, since it's not in there, so I will go 2, 3, 10. You can see I got the 3, 5 in there as well. But the one after that for me would be in race number, the 4 horse would get in there for the 8. So it would go 3, 2, 10, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 2, 3, 10 on my trifecta. I'll go ahead and readjust that as the and doesn't matter now, but let's find out how they go. They're almost all in there except for the 5 and the 12. Looking at our speed figure, our simulations, it looks like we expect a pretty competitive race up front, although the 12 horse Devil's Harvest and the 10 horse Lazarus, they look like the 2 that are most likely to get out of the gates and take charge right from the get-go. The value here, that 9 horse, the one Tom has left, is your horse with the most value. As they get started, kind of strung out right away from the beginning, although you do have a few horses that want to go up front. You got the 2 horse right now. The Thrill of Victory is on the lead. The 9 horse, it looks like to me, is sitting right behind it. So Tom's pick of Integrity is in the mix, although the 2 horse looks like it's starting to pull away a little bit as they dip down the hill there, coming into the bend to come home. On the outside, you do have the 12 horse, one that we projected would be up front, 3 wide, trying to make up ground. That might be a difficult trip. Opening quarter in 24. The 4 horse is way in the back. You got a whole bunch of horses in the middle there. Right now, just looking at the screen, it looks to me like maybe the 3 horse is moving the best on the rail as they come through the turn. A good picture there. And then as they go through the turn, they come out, another good video. And then after that, you're in a whole lot of trouble because you won't see what's going on. The field is starting to bunch up a little bit. The 2-horse continues to set the tone. The 12-horse to its outside. The 9-horse trying to dip in. It looks like who is that on the rail? Is that the 11-horse? That's going to go back-to-back 11s maybe? Who's taking the lead here? The 2-horse continues to hang on. The 9's in there. You got the 1 on the rail. You got the 12 coming. The 12 looks like it might get some juice here at the end. Oh, they're all bumping off of each other like crazy now. It's a little bit of a rodeo out there and not a race anymore. Somebody's breaking in between the middle with the gray. They're all struggling with that hill. It looks like the 1-horse is going to win, folks. That's the one that's going to get the job done. Ironsides, and that was, if I recall, go back to the comment sections. That was Charles. That was a Christopher D'Souza's.
Top
Have
pick.
a nice day from Istanbul. Good luck, everybody. Let's go back. I think when we did race number 2, I'm almost 1,000%. Christopher D'Souza put $125 on that one to win.
Yep.
So, Christopher, even though I didn't have him in my picks, I'm thrilled to death that you got him as your winner there. And I hope everybody followed along with Christopher. There it is. Best bet of the day. 125 to win on the 1. And the 1-horse for Christopher going. And this is why we like people to comment in the sections, going off to 4-1. So it went 1, 2, 9, 6, or 6, 9.
6, 9.
Fantastic, Christopher. Really, really happy for you. You should have done football this year, Rich. I was super ready. Well, you can still, we can still think about that. All right, 3 races to go, folks. Really pumped up for Christopher hitting that nice shot there. It's our turn now. So Charles got 1 in race 1. Christopher gets 1 in race 2. That means you and I are up next. Thomas, let's see what we have in thought-wise for race 8.
This is a 7-furlong race for optional claimers of 62.5. They're non-winners of 2 other than, or non-winners of 3, and we only have 1 in for a tag.
And that's the 1-horse, right? Red Hornet. And you can see here, nobody else is in for a price. Sorry, I screwed up. I highlighted everything except what I wanted to highlight. There you go. Yeah. Only one that's in for a price is the 1-horse. At 7 furlongs.
Good job, too.
Yes, I am pretty good at that stuff, Thomas, messing things up. At 7 furlongs, the first time we're going to see it today. They only ran it 4 times last week. Tactical Speed did pretty good. It's probably the race where being closer to the front worked out the best. 1 of the 4 went wire to wire. You had 1 winner from posts 2 and 3. Then you had 1 winner from post 4 and 7 and 2 winners from 8 and out. Again, 4 races, really not enough to call that any sort of thorough data set. But we looked a little bit deeper with our simulations and a lot of scratches in here, probably changing the race around a little bit, Charles. But what do you see from the data?
Yeah, it kind of did a little bit. We have the 8 as 22% chance getting the lead at the quarter pole. Could be true. The 14 has a 15% chance, and then you got the 4 at 12% chance. This is going to be very tactful. I think the 8 will get the lead, but I think he's going to have a lot of company pushing him along the way. When it comes to simulation odds, we have let me see, who do we have? 10. The 10, 2 to 1. We got 3.5 to 1 morning line. And then look at that 15. Just under 2 to 1. You got 15 to 1 morning line.
Ooh, big overlay right there, right? In race number 8, our race shape. Well, look at that. Everybody kind of wants to be middle forward. So this could be a pretty competitive race all the way around the track. This sort of shape, if you want speed, you might want to go at the speed of the speed. That is Axe the Helm. Well, but 6 points better than everybody else for this PC type. It doesn't mean it has to be on the lead. So it can be patient if it wants to be. The 10 and the 11, they usually want to be on the front, and not getting to the front could be discouraging for both of them. We saw that with the 12. Couldn't get to the lead and then couldn't find its way forward in the second race right there. Late speed, the Tartufo, the 2-horse, the closer, 99. That's a professional score right in there. Chasing the Crown, Solidify, they're right there as well. Our total pace horse is the 15. That one that you mentioned, Charles, as a strong overlay, also grades out 6 points better than anybody else as your top total pace play. Maybe worth taking a shot. Charles, did you take a shot with the 15? No, you did not.
No, I did not. I really do like the 14 here. This horse ran second the last 2 times. Maker gets 16% when you rest them up 46 plus days. This horse has enough speed to make it tactical enough to at the end of the race. I think he could sit pretty close to the leader and make one good run. The 10 horse ran second last time out. The second start after a layoff. Trainer gets 21% with that angle. But today they're adding in the blinkers. And Tyler's aboard. So I think we're going to see this horse move up a little bit. So this horse will be sitting up pretty close. The 4 horse is my third choice. Won last time out. Second start after a layoff. Trainer gets 16%, which is Joe Sharp. Joe Sharp is the one with 11 in that first race, just got nosed out. He gets 26% when he puts him second time on the turf. So look out for that 4. And then the 5. You got to toss out that last race. If you toss out that last race, this horse is right there. He's dropping in class today. You got a hot jockey the last 7 days. And you got a combination of Todd Pletcher and Jose Ortiz. Cannot sneeze at that. And that's what I got.
Thomas, what do you got?
I started with that horse, number 5, Hidden Path. Made an allowance winner. I tossed out those 2 stakes races because it showed absolutely nothing. I think this an optional claimer is a much better spot for it, and I think I will win here. 14, Chasing the Crown, drew in off the list. I always got to watch those. 2 seconds and did an interesting way. One, it came from way back to get second, and the other one was closer to the lead. I think it'll be the favorite, and I think it'll run second again. Number 10, Bius. Just missed last out. They're going to add blinkers. It's going to get the job done, but it's not going to get it for a win.
The quintessential Tom horse, for sure. My favorite pick from Tom. Going to win? Nah, but in the money, yes. Rodney Evans, a.k.a. Hot Rod, going to play a $25 daily double in race number 8 with the 10 horse. Boys. How did you pronounce that one, Tom?
Bius? I don't know.
Yeah. We'll go with that. Tom is now the official show pronunciator. And then in race number 9.
Mispronunciator would be more accurate.
Well, whatever works. The 5 horse is the second half of the daily double for a Hot Rod. Christopher D'Souza, the hot hand, at least so far, in race number 8. The 15 horse to win with the 8 and 2 involved in exact the trifecta box. I got the 8 horse as my top pick. Yet to win one in these first 2 races. So I'm due. The gambler fallacy that puts a lot of people in the poorhouse. There's 1 for 1 at Kentucky Downs coming off the bench just like today. Got some good workouts getting ready. The first race since March. Chasing the Crown. That 14 horse has been in the money. 7 of 8 on grass. Solid race after solid race after solid race. Again, one of those horses with a low high floor, low ceiling type. The 10 horse, boys, whatever. Never made it 2 starts in a row, Tom, without a layoff. So that's something that kind of catches my eye there. I think you're either going to see the horse improve a lot in here or just totally regress. I don't think there's going to be any middle ground. Then finally, Solidify. You do have that top total pace in there with that 15. You got that simulation favorite. So I'm going to take him as the price play. I don't know with all the scratches that you'll get 15 to 1, but I'll take 10 to 1. That would be plenty fine by me. Let's move off to race number 9. Colonial Downs, race number 6. Bet the 4 to win today at Colonial Downs, race number 6, says our good friend Jared Bush. Haven't seen Jared in a while. Race 9, one of the last 2 races on the day, the last chance to do a daily double. This one is a stakes race. Thomas, we're going to travel 1 mile and 70 yards. Tell us all about what it takes to get into this race.
This is our one dreamer. So for non-winners of a graded stakes race in 2023. So it can be a pretty good horse and get in here.
I've not been down there. Charles, you live down in that area. And Tom, I know you like to travel a lot, but have either of you been to Jeff Ruby's Steakhouse?
I have a long time ago, yes.
And your thoughts?
Well, very good.
Very good. I haven't been there. Maybe it's something we can do as a crew. Maybe Jeff Ruby can bring us in there. We'll do our show from there. That would be fun. So they only did 1 race last week at 1 mile and 70 yards. That race was won from way off the back and the post positions from 4 through 7. So middle of the track closer, got the job done in the only race so far at that distance. A couple of speed horses scratched out, but I don't think it's going to change who would have been on the lead anyway.
No, I don't think it's going to change. The 8 horse has a 46% chance of getting that lead. Probably most likely will get the lead, but it will be pushed by the 7. 7's going to push him along a little bit. But when it comes to simulation odds, we have the 5 at just under 4-1. We got 5-1 morning line. We got the 7 just under, well, basically 3-1.
Fair value, yeah.
Yeah.
That's about it. Looking at the strong C-Zone scores on Jubilee Bridge and Present Moment, two that should like the way that this race takes in terms of its early pace. In the 9th race, the race shape, again, most people want to be middle of the back. So if the 7 and 8 have any early legs in there at all, can run decent fractions, chance to take them wire to wire. They are the two that'll be up on the front, although not the biggest advantage that you want to see for horses that come off the pace, especially if any of them have a lot of late juice. The 9 and the 5 do have some pretty good late legs in there, score pretty well ahead of everybody else in there. Our top total pace score goes to the 5 horse, Via Reggio. I think I maybe got that one right. Right there with For the Flag, a little bit easier to pronounce. So maybe the speed horse hangs on in this case, Charles. You do have him in your picks, but not on top. And I got to say, based upon the first race, the 5 horse should be scared because we all had the 5 horses as our first pick in race number 1. In race number 9, we all have the 5 horse as our first pick. So everyone, take out your programs, X out the 5, and look at all the other horses.
No, don't X out that 5 because this is probably the winner here. This horse has got tactical speed, drops in class today. You have Irad Walsh as a combo. Walsh gets 13% non-graded stakes horses. And then you got the 9. This is a closer. Grand Motion gets 15% with 46 plus days. He's an excellent trainer when it's getting horses ready to rock and roll. He also gets 18% with non-graded stakes horses. The 1 horse is my third choice. Won the last 2 times. Trainer gets 13% with non-graded. Another one with kind of tactical speed. And then the speed horse, the 7, is my final pick here. Ran second last time out. Fits with this group, but the question is he going to hang on? And I'm going to say no.
Tom, you're going to make it 4 for 4 here because Rodney Evans, Hot Rod, he likes the 5 horse too. So I think that we're all Rodney, I have to apologize in advance, my man. I'm sorry about that. All right, Tom, tell us why we shouldn't be sorry.
Has 1 win in an allowance race, and then it went to grade 1 and grade 3 races and ran okay. It is a group 3 winner at the Curragh in Ireland. If she's ready, she should win. 6, Kate's Kingdom's going to be my next choice. Ran well last time out. Appeared to have checked in that race, and it was on the all-weather. It's generally working well and has won off a layoff before. Finally, 9, Candy Light is going to be my final choice. It moved too early in its last race and got 4th, or hanging on for 4th to be more accurate. Works are good, and this one likes to run late.
So here we have in race number 9, Christopher D'Souza says his next best bet of the day for the day is that 1 horse, Jubilee Bridge, and he's joined by Jared Bush. I don't know if that's good or bad for you, Christopher. What do you think, Jared? Is that pretty good for you? Because he likes the Jubilee too. And if you ever seen the movie The Bronx Tale, you might know which role Jared played. I like and I'm just kidding with you, Jared. Jared is a pretty swift guy with his ideas. I like the 5 horse too. Like I said, we're dooming this horse for sure. Via Reggio drops from a pair of graded stakes races, has a really nice bullet workout on September the 2nd. He looks like he's ready to go, with the exception of all of us jumping on it. The 7 horse, For the Flag, going to try to be out front with this race. Fractions will be everything. If it can run decent fractions, could get a good shot to get the W wire to wire. The 8 horse, Sister Luann, only horse in this field with some Kentucky Derby experience, usually tries to go forward. But what I like is in that last race, showed a huge late race potential with a big number in there. So maybe we're going to see something new and different from the 8 horse today. Finally, Jubilee Bridge, the one that Christopher likes, the one that Jared likes. It's an all or nothing horse on the grass, 6 times out, 3 wins. So if it runs its best, can indeed make winners out of Christopher and Jared. and a chance for this horse to deliver a little bit more in its second start after layoff. Although the only other time it made a second start after layoff, it did not perform well. Final race of the day, gentlemen, is race number 10 in the 10 race card. A lot of good stuff in here. We'll post again all of our picks over at horseracingtoday.net once the show is over. While you're here, if you haven't done so yet, kindly hit the thumbs up on Facebook or on YouTube. And if you haven't done so, hit us up on our social sites. You see them scrolling down there below. Horse Race, the number 2 day. Horse Race, number 2 day. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Threads. Our good friend Swiss Army Sean always putting up great content, so make sure you check that out. All right, Thomas, for the last time today, tell us about the conditions for the final show at Kentucky Downs.
This is Rich's most favorite races of all time.
Indeed.
He calls those 2-year-olds going a mile, and they're going for decent money, as they always do at Kentucky Downs.
Yes, a nice 150K right there. For the last time at a mile, stalkers do all right. We've seen stalkers do pretty well in the first 2 races. Did have a couple. One of them went wire to wire. So far, 1 out of 14. So getting lower and lower. None won from the rail last week. 2 and 3, a little bit of bonus. I think we saw most of them come from the outside. No, the one horse won that last race. So the rail finally did get one. And then 8 out gets a big ding. Charles, take us through what the numbers say with a bunch of outside scratches, but not affecting the race at all.
Well, they took out the main speed, but right now it's probably the one horse is going to have a 28% chance of getting that lead at the quarter pole. And this horse could probably go to lead, or it could even sit second. I think the 11 might even show a little bit more speed too. So, and the 12 at 14%. So I think those other 2 down there could show just as much speed, might even get the lead.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it comes to simulation odds, the 1 is at basically even money, and the morning line is 3 to 1. The 3 is about 2.5 to 1, and we got 3.5 to 1, and that is it when it comes to overlays.
For comfort zone, Christopher D'Souza, you might like this one. 82% comfort zone score, almost better than all of the rest of the field combined. So that 11 horse Charles that you thought might press up forward might actually like to be in that position. Last time today, we'll take a look at what the race shape looks like. Boy, look at that 11 horse out there as a lone E type, Charles. If he does get the lead, could be one that could cause some havoc out there. The 6 horse also be up front. Everybody else, well, you got all these guys back here that haven't been close. The 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, not within 5 lengths of the leader. The 1, 3, 4, and 5 want to close. Early speed does belong to the 12 horse. That 11 down here might not be too happy with all those horses in front of it. As far as late speed is concerned, if it continues to perform well, Judgment, the 3 horse, grading out as the horse with the most late legs. As far as our total pace is concerned, taking the shape of a pretty competitive race, at least from the 1, 3, 10, 6, and 12. Maybe you put those 4 together in exacta, trifecta, superfecta box. You might come away a winner. Charles, what do you think?
Well, maybe it could be, but I really like that one. This horse ran even last time out. Like I said, this horse could go to lead, but you know what? I think he's got more tactical. I think he'll be just fine if the 11 or 12 goes out to the front and just let him go. Grand Motion and Tyler Gaffleon is the combination here, so why not? This horse is going to make one good run here at the end, I believe. The 3 is my second choice. This horse ran 3rd last time out. Todd gets 21% in their second race. Rosario's up. The horse could close. A lot of good things they're like. And then the 5 is my 3rd choice. This one has a little bit of tactical speed. Sharp gets 16% with 46 plus days of rest. Plus, he gets 14% when he puts the blinkers on for the first time. IRAD's aboard. That makes it dangerous. And then that 11, which is one of them I think might be on the lead. This horse ran 2nd last time out. The jockey, Alex Archer, he gets 17%. He's one of those quiet jockeys no one knows about that does an excellent job out there. He gives you an honest ride every time. This horse totally fits with this group. So don't put away that 11 quite yet.
Christopher D'Souza saying he likes the 10, the 12 horse in race number 10 with the 11 and 9. Look out for that 9 horse above the sun, he says. Looks pretty good. Good the thumbs up. Thomas, you gave him the thumbs up to the 3 horse.
I did. First race, hopped at the start and got rolling late, and it had a 10 post position, which didn't help it any in that race. Get better with this drawing inside and a little better trip. You got to get the better results. 5, Your Kitten Me adds blinkers. Lacks room in its last race. Turf races have been decent. Gets Irad, and I think this Irad's going to push this horse a little more forwardly this time around.
Just hope he doesn't fall asleep at the wire like he did in the first race.
Well, you never know.
I don't think he fell asleep, by the way.
And finally, I'm going to take number 8, Foreseen, my final choice. First start was on the dirt at 7 furlongs, and it was interesting to say the least because in the stretch he was on the wrong lead. Get that straightened out. I think there's a little bit more horse there, and the breeding suggests could be pretty good.
So rewinding back to that first race, you don't think he fell asleep, but that race was in Kentucky, not in New York. You think if he's in New York, he tries to herd the other horse a little bit more than he did there?
Well, no, I don't think there was not much there he could do that. But if it was a little tighter, yeah, he would have. Yeah, I agree with that.
Well, he ended up winning anyway, right? So
yeah, he did.
To his benefit. I'm going to start with the 3-horse, just like my friend Tom. All these 4 and Friday shows have us thinking alike. Again, that could be dangerous for both of us. Did get off to a really bad start in its debut. Still rallied really strongly. And then I think you get a little bit of cleaner trip here. You probably get a little better result. The 1-horse Yada, this guy is a money burner, folks. Beaten favorite in both starts. There must be something that Tyler Gaffleone likes to stay on this horse. Number 2, I'm a Mess. I think that's appropriate. Becoming a big fan, at least I am, of horses that have strong backworks followed by maintenance workouts and then making its debut. That's what you see with the 2-horse. And just to kind of give you a sense of what I mean by that, and I've been finding a lot of winners doing this, but you look in here, you see some pretty decent workouts back in here, decent workout at Saratoga, decent workout back here with the Bullet, decent workout back here, good workouts, and then just to like a jog around the park to keep yourself fresh. I've seen that pay off so many times lately that it's becoming my favorite handicapping angle. So keep an eye on that when you're looking at first-time starters. And along with me being a Mess, Joke Master, first route, displayed some closing interest in her first grass go. So the extra distance today could be a difference maker for Joke Master. So all of our picks today for Kentucky Downs. The first 2 races are in the books. I think in the first race, the 4-horse won. In race number 2, it was the 1-horse. None of us had that one. Christopher D'Souza did. So hopefully Thomas and I, as well as Charles, can get on track as well as everybody else for the rest of the day there. I'm not quite sure 100%. Tom and I are going to discuss this when we go off the air, when we will put together our picks for Kentucky Downs for Saturday. So if you haven't, again, follow us on our social sites. We'll update to you when we're going to do that. And if you hit the subscribe button and the bell, when we go live, you'll be notified. And we tend to schedule our shows about a half an hour before we go live. So you will be notified about 30 minutes before we get started so you can get situated with that. Outside of that, gentlemen, any final thoughts before we get up and out of here on this Thursday?
No, well, like I said all week long and last week, I'm going to be at the Keeneland sale. So look me up if you have any questions or just want to learn something there. Just send me an email.
And you can see it's right there. What is it? bigcasinoracing@gmail.com. All right. And then how about you, Thomas? Any final words of wisdom from our international man of intrigue?
Good luck.
Oh, that's me, by the way. Oh,
good luck.
Good luck. Yes, you need a little bit of that.
Kentucky Downs, always good luck.
Indeed. Well, I mean, it's definitely a fun track in that respect. As far as I'm concerned, I hope that no matter what you're doing on the rest of this terrific Thursday, that you have God's grace, God's favor, and that every single thing that you do between here and the next time we get together ends up in the
winner's circle.
Ooh, enthusiasm. Love it.
Ooh.
Thanks for joining us today. Hope everybody has a fantastic Thursday.